I think Whitney spent a lot of her life hiding certain things from the public. When she showed up at this performance being extremely skeletal, it was something that was observable by everyone, and she has to deal with it. And I don't think she dealt with it very well.
The scandal forces Whitney to address her problems publicly for the first time. On November 7th, 2002, she sits down with Diane Sawyer for a revealing interview in an effort to repair her image.
The quote of the entire interview, "crack is whack," instead of making her look like she was too good to do drugs, it was like, well, I only do the good drugs.
She had problems, and they hadn't been fixed yet. And unfortunately, her career took a bigger hit than ever.
After 14 tumultuous years of marriage, it's Bobby Brown that leaves Whitney Houston.
When he left, she said she waited for him to come back, and he never came back.
Whitney and Bobby were absolutely codependent on each other. And when we say that people are codependent, it's like they can't separate themselves from their partner. They don't have their own identity. When Whitney's relationship with Bobby ended, that was the end of that codependent relationship, but she still was a broken person. She still didn't know what to do.
In 2007, with Bobby Brown out of the picture, Clive Davis steps back into Whitney's life to resurrect her career and restore her place as America's sweetheart.
Clive Davis knew what she had gone through, but I think he was desperate for another hit. He was always that person in her life pushing her to do things whether she was ready or not.
She knows that her voice and her talent isn't quite up to par as it was when she was younger. And that's really stressful. Whitney's very concerned about what the public believes about her. She's very concerned about criticism.
Realizing the public's disappointment with her, Whitney resorts to drugs once again to cope. On February 11th, 2012, Whitney Houston checks into the Beverly Hilton for the 54th Annual Grammy Awards, set to take place at the hotel. She will be the guest of honor at Clive Davis's pre-Grammy party, but leading up to the big night, the pressures of returning to the spotlight seem to bring back bad habits. Her bizarre antics show no signs of waning.
She looks like hell at the Beverly Hilton. She's complaining that there's not enough alcohol in her drinks at the pool. She's screaming at people. She's looking like a crazed harpy. But she's determined to go to Clive Davis's party. So she goes upstairs to get herself together, have a hot bath, and that's the last the public has seen of Whitney Houston.
I was waiting for her to come down. There was this bam on the door. We opened it up, and it was her assistant, and I remember her so clearly. Her face was just, red, and she was like, Whitney's not coming, Whitney can't make it, Whitney's dead.
At age 48, Whitney Houston is dead of accidental drowning caused by cocaine abuse and heart disease. Toxicology reports will reveal that Whitney had done cocaine shortly before her death.
There were all kinds of things in the room that the police found, so she clearly was engaging in those same activities.
Here's Clive Davis preparing for his annual Grammys party. Whitney Houston's going to be on his arm. He's going to prove that she's gotten through all her personal problems, and she goes upstairs and drops dead.
The one person that never betrayed Whitney in life returns to Newark to prove her loyalty one last time. Robin Crawford.
I just wondered what would have become of Whitney had she stayed in her life, had it not been at a time where you had to conform to one particular type of package to become successful, particularly as a Black woman.
There was probably a part of her that just wanted to be in this relationship, but she knew that the public was uncomfortable with it. And so to try to hide a true sense of yourself, that makes you feel really bad because you're not able to really show who you are to everyone.
Throughout her career, Whitney faced the pressures of conformity, having to hide her true roots and possibly her true sexuality, and she ultimately paid a harsh price. But in the end, the scandals that took control of Whitney Houston's life will never silence her unforgettable voice.
Think about the long life that she had to live, and you think about all the bad decisions that led up to her death. But I think as time goes on, the only thing that will matter, the only thing that will remain is that voice and that music.